As the Pittsburgh Steelers prepare to return to action Sunday against the Cleveland Browns, one inevitable matchup looms large. Browns edge rusher Myles Garrett is once again leading a strong defensive line in Cleveland, even if the team's 1-4 record doesn't reflect it. The Steelers' offensive line will be tasked with giving Aaron Rodgers the time required to dissect the opposing secondary, with whoever Garrett is lined up across from shouldering the biggest responsibility. While the former DPOI does move around a bit, he is primarily lined up on the defensive right side, meaning it will be left tackle Broderick Jones who must handle him in most scenarios. The struggling tackle knows just how difficult this week could be for him, and how he performs could define his third season in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Steelers' Broderick Jones has opportunity to change the narrative around his 2025 season. Jones' struggles this season are well documented, most notably his 3 sacks allowed in Week 1 against the New York Jets. He has settled down quite a bit since then, but noticeably bad reps are still littered throughout his tape. He has failed to show the promise he did as a prospect ever since the Steelers drafted him in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft. His athletic tools and natural ability are still evident when watching him, but his blocking technique and football IQ have yet to reach the level of his physical talents. Keeping Garrett at bay is a tall task for even the most polished pass protectors the NFL has to offer, let alone a struggling young player like Jones. The NFL, just like life, is rarely fair, though. Expecting him to truly win the matchup this week is a tough ask, but at least battling and getting a few clear wins could go a long way towards building his confidence. Self-belief is an underrated aspect of playing offensive line. Nobody really talks about you when you just do your job. It's only when you make an obvious mistake that you get noticed in the trenches. Jones needs to string together clean games to settle in as the potential long-term answer at left tackle, and doing it against an all-pro like Garrett would only add to his level of confidence. Plenty of help from tight ends and running backs will likely be coming his way, but it's up to the former first-round pick to show why this front office had so much faith in him when they picked him 14th overall back in 2023. Success in the National Football League depends on 2 things: preparation and rhythm. The best players know how to stay proactive, even when roadblocks inevitably arise. The Pittsburgh Steelers understand this well. Through the early part of the 2025 season, an untimely wave of injuries threatened to derail their rhythm and test their depth before the team could build any real momentum. But as Mike Tomlin's group continues to battle through adversity, their 23-9 win over the Cleveland Browns in Week 6 was a reminder of what makes this franchise special: resilience, accountability, and a mentality that has long defined Steelers football. Among those who embody that mentality best is All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey. The veteran defensive back missed time earlier in the season with a nagging hamstring injury, a frustrating setback for one of the league's fiercest competitors. But true to his reputation, Ramsey refused to let it sideline him for long. He attacked his recovery with the same intensity and focus that made him a first-round pick out of Florida State and one of the NFL's premier defensive leaders. On Sunday, all that hard work paid off. Against Cleveland, Ramsey delivered a vintage performance: 2 sacks, 6 tackles, and a level of physicality that set the tone for the entire defense. In fact, he outpaced even TJ Watt in sacks for the afternoon, helping Terrell Austin's unit stifle Browns rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a motivated superstar in Jalen Ramsey. Mike Tomlin made sure everyone understood just how much that performance meant. It's certainly a shining example of what professional football is about, Tomlin told reporters during his Monday press conference. But I doubt that any of us are surprised by it. That's very consistent behavior with what he's displayed throughout his career. Personally, for a guy like me who's scouted him since he was at Florida State, I certainly know that's a component of his football character. So, I'm not surprised by it, but it doesn't mean that we don't appreciate it. Coming from Tomlin, that's high praise, and it's earned. The Steelers' head coach has built his career on recognizing and nurturing football character, and Ramsey's relentless effort and mental toughness perfectly fit that mold. Through 5 games this season, Ramsey has posted 2 sacks, 1 interception, and 4 pass deflections. Impressive numbers for a player who missed time and is still finding his groove within Austin's defensive scheme. But more than the stats, his leadership and edge have helped elevate the entire secondary. Younger players like Joey Porter Jr. and Corey Trice Jr. have benefited from his example, learning firsthand what it takes to sustain success in the NFL. Tomlin's acknowledgement of Ramsey's dedication wasn't just coach speak, it was a reflection of what this team stands for. The Steelers know that talent alone doesn't win championships. Discipline, resilience, and accountability do. If Ramsey continues to play at this level and stay healthy, his impact could carry far beyond the box score. As the Steelers push deeper into the season and continue their pursuit of the AFC North crown, Ramsey's leadership and grit might just be the difference between a good defense and a great one. And if you ask Mike Tomlin, that's exactly what he expects. Pittsburgh Steelers fans have been screaming for a significant wide receiver addition since last year, and it looks like there's a chance they'll get it in 2025. Of course, Pittsburgh did make a wide receiver trade last season to try and provide some support for George Pickens, but the acquisition of Mike Williams was a total bust, as the veteran was clearly over the hill. In 2025, the Steelers acquired DK Metcalf, but then shipped Pickens off to the Dallas Cowboys, which put the team right back in the same boat it was in last year. With the trade deadline rapidly approaching on November 4th, ESPN's Adam Schefter says that the Steelers are indeed in the market for a wide receiver. You've got the Chargers looking for a running back, the Steelers looking for a receiver, Schefter said on the Pat McAfee show on Monday. As we found out with Williams last season, not all wide receiver trades are created equal. General Manager Omar Khan needs to take a big swing on a player who, at the very least, has a pulse. In an article from Schefter on October 10th, he listed several players who could hit the trade block, but only named one wide receiver: New Orleans Saints pass catcher Chris Olave. While it remains to be seen if the Saints are willing to trade Olave, he would be just what the Steelers need. Olave does come with concussion concerns after suffering multiple during his NFL career, but there is no doubt about his talent. Olave has 2 1,000-yard seasons over 3+, and those seasons came with guys like Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, and Derek Carr as his quarterbacks. Through 6 games this season, Olave has tallied 342 yards and 1 score, which is made more impressive by the fact that his quarterback is Spencer Rattler. Put Olave on the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football and Metcalf helping to take pressure off, and he should thrive. Another wideout to keep an eye on is Las Vegas Raiders veteran Jakobi Meyers, who requested a trade before the season after failing to get a contract extension. With the Raiders sitting at 2-4 and probably not going anywhere in 2025, and with Meyers in the final year of his deal, he is a prime trade candidate and would be a perfect fit in Pittsburgh.